We have a great question today from a brand. They have a product that they're selling in 3 sizes. We don't know what product, but that's okay. And they're trying to determine what kind of packaging they should get for their sales. I really like this question because when you're starting off as a brand, it can be really hard to decide what you want to invest money in and how much of anything you should invest in, and packaging and your packaging deliverables and components are a huge part of this, and they can be pretty expensive. You might have to invest a couple $1,000s in packaging up front depending on your brand. There are obviously ways around this, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but let's go back to the original question and we'll discuss some questions to ask yourself as you're thinking about this. So, a few questions. Question 1, what are the actual products you're selling? Unfortunately, we didn't have an answer to this for the Quora question, but that's okay because we can speak generally about different products. For apparel, typically what you'll see is apparel products will be shipped in what's called poly mailers. So they are usually rectangular shaped mailers. They're soft, they're malleable. They're really great for shipping apparel and soft goods because they cost less to ship. It's a bit easier to get as much as possible in there. And they're pretty inexpensive. This would be versus something like shipping glass objects or shipping electronics, where you really need a hard package in order to keep the item safe. That said, we have used in the past boxes to ship apparel products. I wouldn't recommend it. It is costly, it is standard, but if you are selling a premium brand, a luxury brand, nice branded boxes can be a great selling point and a great brand building exercise for you. On to question 2. Are you holding inventory? This matters because depending on your inventory investment, depending on your business model, it might make more or less sense to invest in packaging inventory up front. So if you are holding inventory, I would suggest at least getting enough packaging for the inventory that you have. Why? You may not have 100% sell-through on your products, but you might have to ship out new products, you might have returns, you might have errors, etc. Things might get lost. So it's good to have at least that much packaging. If you'd like to de-risk this a little bit, you could invest in packaging for like 70% of your products and sort of take a gamble on that. But usually businesses have a minimum requirement for packaging. They're sold in units of the hundreds or the thousands. So again, depending on the product and the type of packaging, you might have restrictions around that. The third thing to consider is, have you thought about selling your products in bundles? Why bundles? Bundling is great. You can upsell products this way. You can increase conversions by offering a discount for a bundled package. But on the packaging side and the shipping side, it also allows you to sort of predetermine how products can be shipped and to offset some of the cost per unit around shipping and packaging by determining and predetermining these bundles for your customers. So something to consider. Again, it depends on the product, depends on the price point. Some products make more sense to bundle and others really don't. So something to think about as you're determining your packaging. Question 4. Are you going for generic or branding packaging? I think most brands would say that they're going for obviously awesome branded packaging, but there are ways you can do a branded unveiling packaging experience that don't require you to break the bank on custom printed materials. You can always invest in fully printed boxes, custom printed poly mailers. We've done that before. We've had great products, great packaging delivered to us. It looks amazing. the upside is you get this great branded packaging. You can be playful with it. You can have fun with it. It's custom. There's something nice about that. The cons are you have to invest in, say, 5,000 units of custom printed polymailers at once, and you have them sitting around your house or your office or your warehouse forever. So that can be less fun unless you really need really heavy boxes around to do like exercising off of or whatever. If you're looking for a more quick turn approach, which we certainly recommend at N.A.bld, we suggest in thinking creatively about your branding and consider investing in smaller, customizable printed options versus the custom packaging. So things like branded stickers, branded inserts, things where the upfront investment for that customization and the size of the thing are not quite as big, so you can actually A, have less stuff hanging around in your business operations, but also B, have a little bit of flexibility in terms of what you're putting in that packaging, what you're doing, and also just have the cost of the packaging be potentially lower because you're not making that huge investment up front. The other reason that I like the sort of piecemeal customization approach is if you're looking to use just plain polymailers or plain boxes, you can get these online in smaller quantities of like 100, 50, 200 units, and they'll be delivered in about 2 to 3 business days if you're ordering from somewhere like Amazon, versus the custom polymailers or packages where the print time to produce these can take 8 weeks with shipping. So again, depending on how you're selling, how much packaging you have on hand at the moment, you might want to go for one over the other. One of the most important things to think about as you're trying to pick what kind of packaging you want is the shipping costs. Different types of packaging cost more or less to ship. So for example, most couriers use a combination of weight and dimension of the packaging, which is what they call DIM. This helps them determine how much it costs to ship something from A to B. That's a certain weight and dimension. Boxes obviously have a set dimension. Polymailers have a smaller dimension, so usually it's less to ship a polymailer. But something to consider, obviously, when you're picking your packaging is how much does this cost to ship? So my huge box is going to cost, more than my polymailer because of the dimensions. So something, again, to consider as you're weighing your options. The last thing to think about is packaging is one of the biggest areas of waste for e-commerce. So always try and consider reducing the amount of packaging you have. Think about ways you can pick packaging options that are sustainable and good for the environment. They even have reusable shipping options and tons of stuff to consider. So take a look at the link we have in the bio below and see all the sustainable options. Follow N.A.bld online for more Quora questions.